Ron Harris here live from MuscularDevelopment.com. Coverage of the Olympia weekend brought to you by High Tech Pharmaceuticals. Here with 212 legend, the Boston Mass, Jose Raymond. We just wrapped up 212 Olympia judging a few minutes ago. And Jose came down to a two-man battle for the win, it looked like, the very last call out. We'll get into the rest of the top five. But first of all, it was Shaun Clarita versus the youngster Keone Pearson. I guess he's not that young anymore. Looks like a solid repeat for Shaun Clarita. But Keone, I don't know, is this the best Keone you've ever seen? How close?
Yes, it's the best Keone. And yes, he's still very young. I believe he's under 30 still. And Shaun's over 40. So that's a huge difference, huge gap. It is the best Keone we've seen. It's still not the best Keone we will see, you know. I personally don't think it should have even come down to a two-man call-out. They were the two best, and they will be. Like that was an introduction to the future. Because we've been saying it for a while, nobody's touching Shaun. If anyone were to, it would be Keone. Yeah. But I don't see it even close.
Right. So condition-wise, you know, I'm very critical of Keone because he is so gifted. He does have such an amazing physique. I want to see that crisp, gnarly condition. You know, obviously, like you said, Clarita's got a lot of years on him. He's got a lot of muscle maturity on him. He has a whole different look to his muscularity. Keone structurally superior, shape superior, but Clarita, here's one thing I want to bring up. Clarita did announce at the press conference, he's up 6 pounds from last year. Looked a little bigger to me. Condition was about the same, but you did notice, we both noticed, you pointed out as usual, his midsection does seem to be starting to get a little too big. Back up.
Yeah, that 6 pounds went basically to his midsection. Thankfully, Shaun's a consummate professional and was able to control it. And I don't think he needed to put on a single ounce from last year. All he's got to do is just keep coming in perfect, and nobody's on the horizon to beat him because nobody has that combination of size, shape, condition, maturity, presentation. I don't see 6 pounds, maybe a pound, and he did have a little bit of distension. I noticed it in his first front double bi. I noticed it in his front relax, and particularly when he turned to the side. Yeah. But it wasn't enough to do any damage to him.
Yeah. So looks like third place, solid third place from Spain was last year's runner-up, Angel Calderon Frias. Remember when we're saying these places, this is where we see it right now. The finals are tonight, guys, so we're just talking about what we saw in the judging. Angel, this guy's a tank. I mean, pound for pound, definitely one of the biggest guys, if not the biggest guy in the division. Condition looked really good. What do you think Keone has that he doesn't have?
Shape. Yeah. He has shape, in shape for days. He's definitely not as conditioned as Angel. They're both relatively the same size. Angel's really wide, but Keone's got the crazy waist. And I think that's the right call for sure. In fact, I would probably have Kerrith over Angel. Okay. I think that's closer than they think. I want to see that tonight, the comparison between Kerrith and Angel. I'd love to see Kerrith move up. I think he deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, he could be third even right now. The way they were positioning them, it was very clear that Keone and Shaun were in the middle and the others were sort of being moved around them. But yeah, Kerrith has been getting better and better. He's been moving up. I think he was out of the top 10 the first Olympia, 7th place last year. Clearly no worse than 4th today, maybe even 3rd. What improvements do you see in Kerrith over the past season or so?
Well, I just had a talk with him. You saw me, and I was very animated. Yes. I get so frustrated watching these guys. He's too nice. He's the nicest guy you ever meet. And on stage, you can't be nice. You got to be aggressive. You got to hit the shots. You got to hold the shots. You got to squeeze as hard as you can. You know, get everything to pop and separate. And he was kind of lackadaisical, and I think that's where Angel and Keone and they separated themselves from him. But physique-wise, I think he's got the best combination of everything up there. The shape, it's really aesthetic, yet big. He's hard. He just wasn't squeezing. You know, when he turned around, he wasn't squeezing his glutes. He was the only one who didn't have striped glutes from behind. But he has them. It's weird.
Yeah.
His improvements are he's very complete. Like he's finally dried out, and when he gets drier, it dries in the right place. Like his waist looked really tight and small. But he's still learning. He turned pro pretty late in the game, in his late 30s, and he is gotten better every year. So
moving up, and he's what is he, about 38 or 39 now?
No,
is he over 40?
Yeah, I think he's 40 now.
So I mean, that's for someone, years ago that would have been the tail end of somebody's career, and this guy's still moving up the ranks, and Clarita still racking up titles. Looked to me like fifth place, the way they're positioning thing was Kuwait's Ahmad Ashkanani.
Yeah.
Same kind of issues, the physique that we always see. I actually thought condition here was better than I've seen it in a little while. We always harp on his lack of quad separation. Yeah. It was better now than it's been, but that's, you're not being compared to your best. You're being compared to the best guys that are up there with you. Yeah. But still, solid fifth place, I believe. Although I think there was another guy in there. I think you would have had ahead of him in the sixth.
Radislav
Angelov from Bulgaria.
Yeah, he had great shape. Obviously, Ahmad is a lot bigger, and this is a big guy's game. So I think he's going to end up in fifth, as you said. And it was a lot of the same. It looks pretty much the exact same Ahmad that was whooping my ass every single time. I still don't understand it to this day, but hey, good congratulations to him.
Yeah. Do you think the judges, theoretically they're just judging what's in front of them based on how everyone looks compared to the other guys, but when they see a guy year after year after year, and they're not picking on him specifically, but just in general, that doesn't seem to make any improvements, it stays the same, unless you're damn near perfect, in which case you don't need to do anything, like Phil Heath was. Do the judges sort of in the back of their minds maybe go, this guy, the same shit we've seen every damn year?
Well, I don't think they mark them down for looking the same. I think they mark them down if there's someone better than them. Yeah. And clearly there was people better than him today. But I mean, it was very consistent, I'll say.
Sure.
He looks exactly the same every year. So, I mean, that's hard to do, I guess.
Yeah. So who else, who did not make that first call out that really stood out to you as someone to watch?
So in the first call, it was actually Oli Krivy.
Oh, that's right, from Ukraine.
Yeah, he was really good. Again, much of the same, rock hard. His legs are a little undersized. He can tend to look a little blocky because his legs are a little undersized. But he's one of the hardest guys in the show. The other one that I really liked was Felipe Moraes. He from Brazil. He put on a little bit more size from last year. Same crazy condition. When he turned around, you started taking pictures of his glutes.
Yeah.
Because you're that kind of guy. And
you love me some glutes, right?
He's probably going to end up in the same spot, 7, 8, something like that. His legs are a little undersized. He's a little bit taller, so it makes him look a little thinner. But I'm a huge fan of his physique. The other guy I liked was, what was it, Nasser?
Nasser Mohammed?
Where is he? Nasser Mohammed, yeah.
Kuwait.
Yeah, he was deceivingly big, deceivingly conditioned, and had really good shape. But he just wasn't big enough to, move up to that first call out. Yeah.
Someone like that, I never say someone can't do this or that, but do you see him being able to carry the type of thickness that could eventually push? Because when I see guys with that crazy shape and structure, and all they really need is more mass, I wonder, can they do it? Will they do it?
Probably not, because he's not a young kid. He's not going to metamorph for size at 40, 38 years old, As we see that the other Moraes kid,
another Felipe.
Yeah, Fabrizio. Yeah. He's put on a ton of muscle. I mean, his condition was a little bit off because I think the muscle's so new he hasn't been able to really marinate it yet. But he's probably a little younger than that guy Nasser. Usually, at this stage, what you see is what you get, unless it's a young guy like Keone. Yeah. We've seen a big change in Keone from classic physique to a decent 212 to a very good 212 to now knocking at the door at the Olympia.
So, Keone's got a ton of fans out there, rightfully so. What could Keone do assuming he takes second, which it's not a foregone conclusion, but it's really looking like he's second, obviously, based on the call-outs and how he compared to Shaun. What would he need to do between now and next year? Assuming Shaun stays about the same, what does Keone need to improve on to be able to possibly beat Shaun Clarita?
His density. If he looked as dense as Shaun, he would win pretty handily because he's a lot wider, he's a lot bigger, noticeably bigger. The legs are a lot bigger. He's prettier, shape-wise. All he has to be is rock hard. I mean, it sounds easier than it is, but it's frustrating to watch. Like, all he has to do is be dry and hard, and he's Mr. Olympia. He could have 2 or 3 by now, and it's not. I don't know. There's a genetic component to it. I'm sure he works hard. But does he work as hard as Clarita?
I don't know.
I don't know, and I don't think so.
I don't know if anybody works harder than Clarita.
Well, that's why he's 2 now, almost going to be 3-time champion.
All right, so the finals for that is tonight, but of course tonight, the main event for most people is going to be the Mr. Olympia judging. That is tonight. That starts at 6 p.m. For those of you saying, when do the open guys go on? Good luck. There's no way to predict that because I get a million messages. But the pay-per-view, you can get that at MrOlympia.com. We'll be doing coverage. We're going to do a wrap-up right after that. That will be the last thing to happen is the Mr. Olympia judging. If I had to be a gambling man, I'd say somewhere between 9 and 10 o'clock it'll start. So we should be out of here by like 11, 11:30. Last year, what was it? Like 1:30, 2 in the... It was 2 in the morning last year we got out in Vegas.
Yeah,
My
awesome.
God, that was ridiculous. Yeah. So we'll be back. Keep your notifications on, of course. Thanks to High Tech Pharmaceuticals for sponsoring us. And for Jose Raymond, Ron Harris, this is Muscular Development. We'll see you soon. Yeah, buddy.